What's up, world? Lee here, coming to you with Sticks, Strings, and Other Things, my little tiny corner of the internet where I come to you every other week and discuss all the crafty things that I have been getting myself into in the past 2 weeks. Knitting, cross-stitch, crochet, that's usually it. I'm coming to you from the Pacific Northwest, where we had snow. Yes. We had snow. We did. We don't normally have snow. And there's a cat in here, and so I'm going to pause for just a moment and get the cat out. Otherwise, the cat, she is not going to be very helpful. This girl here, not going to be a helpful girl. She hates being held. So I'm going to get her out of here, and I will be right back. Right, she decided to go hide under the bed. I'm not going to chase her out from underneath the bed. So, hopefully I won't be having to stop and move the cat again. Or attempt to. Anyway, where was I? Oh yes, the Pacific Northwest, where we had snow. I think we have snow every couple years or so. We don't have 11 inches of snow. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. And in my new house, I was like, oh, I wonder how the snow will be in my new house. We're much, much, much closer to the water. And with Pacific Northwest microclimates, that can make a huge difference. We used to live just high enough that everywhere else would not have snow, and we'd have 2 feet. Exaggeration. We'd have like 5 inches. Tops. Not 2 feet. I don't think we've ever had 2 feet of snow. I'm a liar. Anyhow, it snowed. It was quite shocking. It was quite delightful. I enjoyed it. But I'm not used to the snow. But it was fine because we didn't lose power. We are not going through the horribleness that people like in Texas and South Texas and the like are going through with rolling brownouts and blackouts and losing power and single-degree temperatures and all of that. I'm hoping all of those people are as safe as they can be and as warm as they can be right now. My thoughts are with them because having lived in the South, they don't do snow because they don't have snow. It makes the Pacific Northwest look like they know what they're doing. And that's scary because we don't know what we're doing in the snow. Anyhow, enough about the weather. Most of the snow is melted because it rained yesterday because Pacific Northwest in February. So rain, and we had lots of it, and it didn't get rid of all the snow, but it got rid of a lot of it, and ew, it was gross. Snow and then rain on top of it turns into this goopy, slushy, soupy mess of awfulness. At least we didn't have ice. Hooray. Anyhow, today I am drinking a Valentine breakfast. It's mainly just a black tea with a little bit of rose, and I forget what else was in it. Luckily it's not too much rose because I usually dislike rose in my tea. As most times that people put rose in their tea, you kind of feel like you're drinking, I don't know, cheap perfume. But this is actually pretty good. I'm enjoying it. Enough about that. Let's get to what I'm wearing. Yes, rug finally dried. It finally dried. So here it is. Here it is, rug. Lovely long arms. And yes, I always make my arms a bit long, but it's perfect because then they go back down to there. And yes, it is definitely cropped. Don't worry, I have a dress on. I wouldn't flash you guys that. No one needs to see that. It's not that kind of channel. But yes, I'm very happy with it. I'm very happy with how the color work turned out. The fit is very nice. I was a little bit concerned about the tightness that I had in this color work band with it being right at the shoulders. I was a bit concerned that there might be some tugging there, and there isn't. You can sort of see it when it's off, or if I'm like moving around a lot and it bunches up because it's kind of poncho shaped, that you can see that this band is tighter than it should be. Hooray, color work. But yes, overall Absolutely fantastically happy with it. It turned out quite wonderfully, and I am feeling grand and happy about it. In other things, I pulled out a new project to put behind me. This is one of my Mirabilias. I always called her Mirabilia. There's extra L's in it, and I never used to say it. Mirabilla, I think is what I used to say. Mirabilia. Whatever, you all know who this is. And this is Fairy Moon. And it is done on this lovely dark fabric by I don't remember who. And other than that, everything is accurate. I believe I did it on a 28 count, because anytime you're doing a Mirabilla on an over dye, it's easier, in my opinion, to use a 28 count because of all the beads, especially up here in this moon, this is all beading right here. This center part outside is stitching, and then inside all of this is beading. And even on the 28 count, it gets a little jumbly when it's an over dye. But overall, it worked out really, really well. I was very happy with this one. She's lovely. I'm happy with her. I have no clue when I finished her. But she took a while, because this is a lot of whites. It's a lot of white. So that's what I have hiding behind me, since, as I stated, I never frame anything, so, or fully finish things, so they just kind of, they're going to come out, and you can see them that way, and I can show them off, and that's kind of fun. I kind of like that. Anyway, how are you all? I hope well and warm. I hope you have power. Who knows? So, don't mind me. Found a little piece of trash. Well, by trash I mean a ball band that wasn't on a piece of on a ball of yarn anymore. So, let's get to what I've been working on. This past 2 weeks, it's mostly been knitting and cross stitch. I didn't pull out my crochet blanket at all, and we're not going to mention the spinning. If ever I mention my spinning, I will be like, wow, spinning. Yeah. So mainly what I've been working on with my knitting has been my No Frills sweater by Petite Knits. And when I was last showing it off, I was just about ready to split for the sleeves. Well, I have definitely split for the sleeves, and I have, trying to pick it up, finished the body, finished the cuff here, and bound off. And in my insanity, I decided, well, I love the way tubular cast-ons and bind-offs look, because they're gorgeous. They just look fantastic. And I went, I want a tubular bind-off. This is used with mohair. That was not the smartest move. Let's just say, I do not know if I will ever want to do a tubular bind-off holding mohair ever again. However, it is fantastic. It's a wonderful tubular bind-off, so it's just perfect. Just rolls right over beautifully. I'm very happy. Then I picked up for the, picked up for the sleeve. And that's as far as I've gone. Yes, I do leave the waste yarn in while I'm working on my sleeve, just in case I hate it and have to rip back. So it's just what I do. Since I've put it on for the sleeve and started working on said sleeve on these itty bitty little needles. These are ChiaoGoo needles for the sleeve. I did everything else on Hiya Sharps. This is a size 8, she says. Is she right? No, she's wrong. US size 7, 4.5 millimeter is what most of the body and the sleeves have been worked on. The neck and the ribbing is a size down. But ever since I put it on here, I have hardly touched it. It's like, oh, I finally finished the body, and I finished that like within a couple days of the last time I filmed. And then I haven't been working on it. So I'm trying to encourage myself with trying to do 2 repeat sections for decreases for the sleeve a day. You'll notice I have 5. I haven't been keeping up even with that, but I'm trying. I got most of this done yesterday, in fact, because I don't know, I got it to the sleeves and just went, I want to work on something else. I do really want this sweater done. It feels fantastic. I'm very much enjoying the fit because I tried it on after I finished binding off, and it will be glorious and warm and beautiful, and I am in love with it. I am using Hazel Knits Artisan Sock in her Ela colorway, and the mohair is Goth Enough to Sack Rome by Curl Up and Dye Yarns. And I'm loving the way it looks. Just really loving holding black mohair with everything. I swear that will be my new thing, just black mohair with everything. It just tones everything down delightfully, and I'm in love with it. Right, I was going to attempt to not talk so much as I did last video. I apologize about how long it was, and I don't seem to be working very well on the talking less. So let's get going. Other things that I worked on knitting wise. Well, I decided I have all these blankets that I'm working on. So what would be the smartest thing to do? Work on them? No. It would be to start another blanket. It is living in my Disney Villains bag from Slipped Stitch Studio, because that's easy for me to say. And this is a kit I bought years ago, and it's just been living in my cubbies, just being ignored. And so finally I decided I want to start it, so I did. And it is a Gansey Afghan. And I am using Plymouth yarn, Encore Tweed. It is an acrylic yarn, I do believe. Acrylic wool and rayon yarn, to be precise, in the delightful colorway T789. Now, isn't that gorgeous? But it is a lovely tweedy colorway, and I picked this up the other day and started it, and I've been enjoying working on it. I am using my Hiya Sharps size US 9 or a 5.5 millimeter. And once I figure out which way everything goes, this way. There we are. So I'm very much enjoying this piece. It'll be a nice little lap blanket. And it's acrylic with wool and rayon, obviously, because I read that. But it's an acrylic blanket, so it'll be really super easy care. I am enjoying it greatly, though. It's just soothing and easy, and you don't really have to think at all when you're knitting it. I mean, okay, you have to think a little bit. You got to make sure your pearls and your knits are in the right spot. But yeah, it's nice and simple. As you can see, this pattern's had a rough life. Yes, this is the entire pattern. It's one page. That's it. It's that easy. So yeah, I have 8 balls of that Encore Tweed to make this blanket. I am almost done with the second ball, and I'm just going to knit on it until I'm almost out, and then I will put the garter stitch border on the end, and ta-da, I'll have another blanket. We'll see how much more I work on it. Because, you know, once I start something, that doesn't mean I'm going to continue to work on it. Though I have really been enjoying this one. I don't know why. It's just, it feels good. I also have been working on my Curling Mists socks. They are from the, what's her name? Curious Handmade Sock Society for this year. And this is living in my Joji bag. I have not gotten very far on these. I am using my signature needles because I love them so much in a number I can't find, because it's probably my 2.5s, because that's always what I use for socks. But there it is. Is it gonna focus? There we go. It's just a lovely sock. As I said, I've barely done anything on it, but I am very much enjoying this. It is a lovely color. I'm enjoying the sock. It's kind of mock cables all the way down. Just really, really easy, really simple, really pleasing to work on. And the color of yarn that I am using is this one. This is Woolenvine yarn in her footsie base, and this is the colorway Santa's Little Vampire Slayer. Oh, Woolenvine yarns. And I'm enjoying it. Ooh, I have something caught on here. What's going on? Oh, I see what happened. My mending tool has caught my ball of yarn. Ah, nightmare. Anyway, I'm enjoying her footsie base. It is a nice 80/20 BFL nylon base, and I love a good BFL nylon base for socks because the BFL is just a little twistier, sturdier. It works very, very nice for socks, and I absolutely love that color and wish I could get more of it. But it was a strange brew, which I think means that it's a non-repeatable colorway. Wah wah. But I'm really enjoying it. It's this lovely purpley gray-y gloriousness, and I am happy with that. Very happy. And yeah, I decided that, you know, when you have a million scrappy projects and you should be working on those occasionally. Like that's what I do on Sundays. It's Scrappy Sunday. I work on my scrappy projects on Sundays. It's nice. I have several of them going. So what would be the best thing to do when you already have a million T10 projects going? We'll start yet another one. I mean, I started a blanket, I started the socks, and I started this. I don't finish things. Why would I do that? This is my Kushlag sweater. Not sweater, shawl, wrap thing. And it is living in my Mrs. Brown's bag. And, don't lose the needles, yoink. I am using the Hue Loco One Pot Wonder Advent Calendar from last year for this one. And I have done the first 3 sections. So there we go. And it just builds off of this. So the next section will build off of here, and then it'll go over here and build here. And I think it is going to just be delightful. I loved this color. This was her tarnish. And absolutely loved it. It was beautiful. So there is my Kushlag. We will see how much more I get done. I do have the next one balled up. It is on her sparkle base, and this one is Funkfetti. So that'll be going in next. It's kind of a fun construction, the way it's done. So I have these stitches held on waste yarn, and I will be picking those stitches up and picking up through here, putting this all on waste yarn, and then knitting this way on this one, and then you pick up these, and it's really fascinating. I'm finding it fun, and as you can see, it's going to be this wide because this is where the side is, and then this will be the other side. I know it's a fascinating construction, and I'm very much enjoying that. I'm loving it. So yeah, I'm enjoying that a lot. So I'm thinking that it will be getting a bit more work. I'm sorry about all the tinkling, tinking. It's my knitting needles hitting my yarn bowl. So that is all the knitting I've done in the past 2 weeks. Most of it was on the sweater, the body of the sweater, and then the rest was mostly the Gansey Afghan. In cross stitch, I was actually very focused in the last 2 weeks on cross stitch. I truly was. Most of what I did is living in here. And it is my Visit Mordor piece, where I have finished the first 2 pages, and then some. So I have all of page 1, all of page 2, and then I decided, because I was working down, all I have left is some land here, and then it'll say Visit Mordor, which is way too amusing and delightful, and I love it. I actually really enjoyed making this volcano here. And the sky looks really, really pretty on camera. I mean, it looks great in person too, but wow, that looks really nice. I am very much enjoying this. It's on, I think, 18 count Aida, just using DMC, and I was absolutely loving working on this. It was scratching some sort of need for me, and I could not put it down. I started getting a little tired of it when I was finishing up the sky over here, but I wanted to get the sky done before I put it away, and I did. I finished the sky the other day and went, I am done with this now. So I did get my WIPGO for February finished with this one, because it was finished 1 page and I finished page 1. I did change my WIPGO slightly. I took out one of my pandemic pages and decided I should do another page on this one, and I did. So I got 2 things on my WIPGO board finished. We'll see when that next day is called, or next square is called, because the other square for my WIPGO is to work on pandemic, and I just have no desire to work on it right now. I worked on it a bunch last month, and this month I have no desire to work on it right now, and so I'm not going to. This is my hobby. This is what I enjoy. So yeah, I'm not gonna work on it if I don't want to work on it. Makes sense to me. But I do still want to finish some things. And the only way you can finish things is if you don't start new ones. And while I desperately want to start about 3 projects right now with cross stitch, I am trying not to, because I would like to finish some things. So I looked at my WIPGO board and went, what on here is something that I want to work on right now? Try and narrow down my prospects of what I wanted to knit on, stitch on. That's what my WIPGO board is that's what I'm using my WIPGO board for. Instead of going, I've got 80 odd projects I need to work on, overwhelmed, won't stitch on anything. I've decided that I will look at my WIPGO board and go, is anything on here something I want to work on right now? And if it is, then I'll work on it. And if it isn't, then I'll open it up to all the other WIPs that I have. Well, there was. I looked at my WIPGO board and went, I do kind of want to work on this lady again. I have all 4 of the Carriage House Samplings girls. I have finished 2 of them. This is the 3rd, and I have the 4th waiting for me. I don't think they came in that order. That was my order for them. Oh, actually, Elizabeth is the 3rd. I don't know if the others were in the right order, but evidently Elizabeth is actually the 3rd. I enjoy her because look at her hair. I mean, look at that. Look at the hair. I love it. Anyhow, I pulled this out the other day and I have started working on it again, and I finished all of these leaves. That is what I was working on yesterday, was filling them in. So I have finished that much on Elizabeth, and I'm still very much enjoying working on Elizabeth, so I will continue to do so for the next few days until I don't feel like working on her, and then I'll pull out something else. And that is, yeah, that's all the WIPs. There were no finishes. There are never any fully finished items, and yeah, that's it. So shall we move on to plans? Because I have some. I am still getting ready for Sock Madness. I talked a lot about that in the last episode. Apologies. Happens. So you don't need to know more about the details, but I am still prepping and figuring things out and figuring out what yarns I want to use and kind of pulling things out so that I have an easier time grabbing them. I have registered, I'm all signed up, and now it is just the impatient wait for the beginning of March when they send out the qualifying pattern. Yay, I'm excited. I cannot wait. I have hunted down some beads, so I shouldn't have to buy any. I have plenty, so I think I have enough beads so that I'm all set on the bead front. And yeah, I'm just waiting for March and the casting on of the qualifying pair of socks, and I'm excited about that. And that's pretty much that for knitting. Other than that, I'm going to try and finish at least one of the sleeves on my sweater before I film next time. And we'll see how far I get on the Gansey and Kushilug. I'm enjoying both of those still, so I imagine I will get farther. The one that's the struggle is my No Frills sweater, because evidently I really don't want to work on the sleeves. They're not hard. They don't bother me. I'm not bored of them. I just don't wanna. I don't understand it. Whatever. Stitching wise, like I said, I will continue to work on Elizabeth because I am enjoying her. And when I am tired of her, I don't know what I'll pull out next, but I'm going to try very hard to not start the about 3 different projects that I desperately want to start. And because I'm so desperate to want to start things, and I haven't figured out how to, I had not before figured out how to add starts without feeling guilty about them, that I came up with a way for me to do it. I am going to allow myself to start something amazing and impressive. One of my big starts, one of my, ooh, I want this starts. Not little small things. I'm not going to count those. I'm talking the big guys. Battery. I was filming the snow the other day and evidently didn't check that my battery was okay when I started. I'm sorry. Yeah. Anyway, I was talking about my new starts and the impressive ones, you know, the giant things that the big projects, the chatelaines, the giant, humongous Quakers that I have, the never-ending Russian rooftops. I'm going to start it. Soon. Anyhow, I've decided that I feel guilty when I start those giant projects when I have so many other projects going. So I'm going to allow myself 4 giant starts this year. And I have decided that I will allow myself a giant, impressive start on the equinox and the solstices. Equinox? What is the plural of equinox and solstice? So spring is coming. I will start a brand new giant project on the first day of spring. Then summer will come and I'll start a brand new project on the first day of summer. Winter and fall. Yeah, switch those around because that's the way the seasons go. Not winter then fall, but winter. You guys understand. Anyhow, that's what I am going to do. And I'm kind of getting all excited about it. I've pulled out about 5 different projects, 4 or 5. I know the number keeps going up because I have a lot of things I want to start. I have a bunch of projects that I'm pulling out and looking at to see about starting. And I'm very excited about it. And if anybody wants to join me on my spring, first day of spring, solstice? No? Equinox? No? Solstice? No? Equinox? Whatever. The spring one. My brain is not working right now. I do know the difference. I do know which one it is. But my brain right now is like, no, that's wrong. For both of them. Anyhow. I've got mohair on my nose. Happens anytime I pull that thing out. Anytime my nostrils comes out, my nose itches from mohair. Anyway, if anyone wants to join me on a season's start, it doesn't have to be a seasonal thing, just starting on the new season. If anyone wants to join me, feel free. That's what I'm going to be doing. It's fun to have company, if you want to. If you don't want to, you can just watch me, if you like. Yeah, those are mostly my plans. Bunch of socks. Try and get some of this stuff knitted down and stitched down. And yeah, that's that. So next we have acquisitions. More stash. Most of it is from a Kickstarter I backed last year. Every year that this guy has done this, I have backed it, and I've been loving it. It is a gentleman who goes to Mongolia and discusses getting fibers from the animals there, from the growers of the animals, the herders, and he dyes it, spins it, and sends it off to people from his Kickstarter. So I got mine. And I kind of went crazy this time because I couldn't help myself. So I'm just going to show you one of the colors. Look at that red. Oh, look at that. Look at this red. It is called crimson. Yeah, you think? And you want to know what this stuff is? Uh-huh. 100% cashmere. In fingering weight. And each skein has how many yards? It's on here. I'm just not finding it. 430 yards. So I have a whole bunch of cashmere. Isn't it delightful? I love it. And has a little, it's, I don't know how to pronounce it, Eulalia. He does a Kickstarter. It's fantastic. All of our fibers come from free-range animals raised by traditional nomadic herders in Mongolia. The unique, bitterly cold Mongolian winters force livestock to produce incredibly fine fibers to sustain them through the cold. When these animals start to shed in the spring, herders brush their animals and harvest their down coats, delivering some of the most sought-after fibers in the world. And this is so soft. I mean, it's freaking cashmere. So yes, it is. And so I have these 4 from this year's Kickstarter. I mean, just, I cannot get over this color. I also picked up one of their blues because I wasn't sure what the blue was going to look like. And this is the cashmere again. Look at this blue. This is the most beautiful blue ever. I don't even know if it's showing how gorgeously electrically beautiful it is on the camera. I saw this color when it came in because he had great photos of everything. He does great photos of the animals too. It's wonderful to follow it. And he did great photos of the color, and I was like, oh, that blue is really, really pretty. I'll get one. And then it showed up, and I was like, wow, that is the most amazing, gorgeous blue. He calls it cobalt blue, and oh yeah, it's cobalt blue. It's stunning. Wish I would have gotten one more skein of this. The other 2 skeins, this one is the label's coming off. This is 100% baby yak, any natural color, so this one is not dyed at all. This is just a baby yak. Squish, squish, oh, so soft and comfy. And then there's this guy in burnt copper, and it is baby camel. Oh, that color's coming up pretty much perfect. But I absolutely love it. So I have 1 camel, 1 yak, 5 cashmere, and then the ones I've done from the past, Kickstarters, which I still haven't used. He does the crimson a lot. This is crimson from last year. It does not quite match, and why should it? It's different goats from a different year with a different dye, so why would it match? Doesn't quite match, but it's close. So I have this one from last year and this one from the first year. I only got one each time, and again, it doesn't match and it shouldn't. However, I do have from last year some heather gray in the cashmere, and I did get 2 of those. So that means I have this in the cashmere this year. Well, and last year. The gray is from last year. And so I am trying to find and figure out a fingering weight sweater that I can make in this lovely cashmere. I haven't decided if I want to use the grays or the blue. The blue tonally is pretty much the same color, so I'm afraid any color work I did with it wouldn't stand out as much as I would like, which is why I pulled out the grays from the other year. That would be stunning and stand out fantastically. So I'm starting to look and see what I can do for a colorwork sweater in this, because this would be the squishiest, most wonderful, fantastic colorwork sweater ever. Yeah. And I feel ridiculous that I'm holding this much cashmere right now. I mean, holy crap, that's a lot of cashmere. Anyhow, when he does his next year's Kickstarter, I will let you all know, because you should totally back it. It's fantastic. Oh, the cashmere all the time. And I love it. Anyway, I'm leaning over to grab the last 3 things. All yarn. This one, cashmere's falling down, is a 50-gram skein of 32 sock set from Tiny Human Knits. It is this lovely self-striping here, and then she sent it with 2 different mini skeins, and it has 32 colors. Yeah, you heard that right. Self-striping, 32 colors. I don't know how anyone would even dye that. I mean, I'm going to crinkle a hole for a sec. Ooh, that's an awful noise. Sorry about that. I'm going to pull it out so you can see it better. Look at these. Look at those colors. Oh. 32. 32. That's crazy. But it is a 50-gram skein, so I will just use the 2 minis that she sent for heels, toes, and cuffs. So I'm figuring when I do it, I will do the cuff in this, and the sock, probably the heel in this, and then the toe in this. Is my thought right now. Isn't it gorgeous though? I'm really excited. 32. It's going to be so pretty. It's going to be so amazing when I knit that up. No clue when that will be, but I'm going to enjoy doing it. And then my other things that I bought a skein of merino sock from Moonstone Dye Works because I loved the colors. She called it Dried Flowers is the colorway. And it is an 80/20 superwash merino nylon fingering weight. Because I love fingering weight. In case you hadn't noticed, I do a lot of things with fingering weight. I only buy fingering weight. It's not quite true, but most of what I have is fingering weight. But I loved these colors. They're just lovely. No clue what I'm going to do with it. That's why I need to stop buying yarn. And then the last one is technically 2 things. It is from Chromatic Yarns. She's over in the UK, and I loved this purple, and it is the Illithid colorway. All of her yarns are based on D&D things, which amuses me to no end. And so I bought her Sturdy Sock, which is a 75-25 BFL nylon base on her Illithid colorway, or Lithorid is the name of it, as you can see right there. And I loved the color, and it's squishy and fun. And I finally was able to get one of her stitch markers. She makes stitch markers. She beads them. So if you can see that little guy right there. Oh, come on, focus. There we go. Look at the little beaded house. Thought it was appropriate since we're never allowed to leave. But yes, there we go. I finally was able to get one of her beaded stitch markers, and I love it. It's really cute. And I put it on here so that I could talk to you guys about it. But after that, it's coming off of this and it's going onto my knitting. Thank you very much. So I've been following her for a while. She has a fun YouTube channel. Her husband's a baker and makes delicious looking things. Yum. And yeah, I got one of her yarns. The stitch marker. She had these little mushroom stitch markers, and oh my god, I really wanted a mushroom stitch marker, but they sell out really fast. All of her stitch markers sell out really fast. Her yarns do too, but her stitch markers just fly. I mean, it's a lot of work to make one of those. I don't know how many hours it takes her to do these things, but they're not easy. So I was very happy that I got one. Hooray. She's making little chicks and stuff right now for her next shop update. And the chicks are cute, but it's not my thing. But they are adorable. I want a mushroom. I don't think I'm going to be able to get a mushroom, but I really want one of her mushrooms. Shipping from the UK is not fun though. Yuck. And yeah, that's all I got. Granted, the Kickstarter yarn I purchased like last March. So it's a Kickstarter. You buy the yarn well in advance of them being able to take it off the animals, let alone everything else that happens with it, the washing, the spinning, the dyeing, the everything. And there were some hiccups this past year because of COVID. Usually you get it the same year. COVID kind of threw everybody off for everything though, so he was still super quick. But yeah, that's all my stash. That's all my whips. That's all my everything. So I guess now if you want to hang out for a minute and listen to me babble, you can. Not much going on. Like I said, there was snow. There was a lot of it. I didn't go anywhere. I wouldn't have gone anywhere anyway, because pandemic. Normally, at this time of year, I would be preparing for my annual chocolate party, though. Because every year, the weekend after Valentine's Day, I have a chocolate party at my house. I get all my friends together, and we eat chocolate, and we drink things that go with chocolate. Tea, coffee, booze, chocolate cake martinis. For the win. Those are very tasty. We eat things that go with chocolate. We don't eat any chocolate at all. Whatever. If you hate chocolate, you can still come. So normally that's what I'm doing at this time. I'm prepping everything for my annual chocolate party. And this year would have been fantastic. New house, chocolate party would have been great, but there's still a pandemic going on. So I'm not going to be doing my annual chocolate party this year, and it makes me very sad. I am very sad that I am not doing my chocolate party. Wah-wah. Pandemic. There will be one next year. But I'm still sad about it this year. Might have to make myself a chocolate cake martini this weekend anyway. Maybe that's what I'll do Saturday. Make myself a big old chocolate cake martini. And dream about chocolate parties. About it. Other than that, I've been reading. I read a lot. I don't normally talk about it, but I thought I would today. So I've been reading these. They're the books that The Expanse is based on. I have not watched The Expanse because as soon as I found out there were books that it was based on, well, you gotta read the book first. I mean, come on, people. Book first is a rule. It's a rule you cannot break. So I have been reading the books, and this is, I don't remember, book 6? 5? 6? Something like that. There's 9, I think. I hate James Holden. Hate him. I hate Holden. Hate him. I cannot stand his insufferable ass. And so the books can get really tedious because the books are very often from his perspective. So you're in his head. Everything wraps around him and his head and his man pain. Drives me crazy. Other than that, I like them. I like some of the other characters. They're pretty formulaic. They're fluffy. As fluffy as humans killing humans can be. Humans were great. But I'm enjoying them well enough, and I figure once I finish all of them, well, I will watch the show. I've heard they've changed quite a few things in the show from in here, like bunched people together, made them one person when they're 4, things like that, as you need to do when you make a show. You can't, you just can't translate a book into a show. It doesn't work. So we'll see how I feel about the show. I've heard this is in Holden's head, and so that's gotta be a plus. But I'm enjoying them well enough. I've been reading like a chapter or 2 at night. Last night I was so wanting to read the next chapter, but I was like, I only have 1 more chapter in me tonight. I better see what the next chapter is. And so I looked, and the next chapter is a Holden chapter. And I went, well, I know what happens when I leave myself ready to start a Holden chapter. I don't read for the next week. So decided I should stop a chapter early so I don't have to stop and go, oh God, the next one's a Holden chapter. Insufferable arrogance. Can't stand him. The books are good enough, though. Fluffy bits of fun. I figure I will finish those, and then I'll have to figure out what else I'm going to read. It's kind of strange. I'm only reading really 1 book. 1 book at a time? What? Who am I? It's so strange. I usually have a couple books on the go, but I just, my brain can't do it right now. I'm going to blame it on the pandemic. I'm going to blame everything on the pandemic, even things that I shouldn't blame on the pandemic, like starting everything. I can't really blame that on the pandemic. I'm going to blame it on the pandemic. Why don't we all just blame everything on the pandemic? I burnt dinner. Ah, darn the pandemic. My tire blew out. Ah, the pandemic. I'm just going to blame the pandemic on everything. I didn't start something. I did start something. I got a knot in my thread. Pandemic. Ran out of yarn. Pandemic. That one possibly, actually. That one could work. Depends. Anyway, enough of that. I am babbling at this point, and I probably have gone way too long. So, I want to thank you all for coming and listening to me and giving me an opportunity to share all of my crafty things with you. I so appreciate being able to do so. I enjoy it. I hope you enjoy it. And if you did enjoy it, please like and subscribe wherever that's at. I don't know. I'm not a pro. I don't know. There's people that like and subscribe, but it could be over there. But I don't know. So like and subscribe wherever it's at if you did enjoy it. If you didn't, well, I'm sure there's someone out there that is fantastic for you, and I hope you find them and you can watch them. Because there's lots out there, and we should all be enjoying it. Because there's lots of fun things to see people making, and I love that. So, yeah. May you all have a wonderful time. May you be staying warm. May you have your power on. I'm really concerned about people. I really am. There's just some crazy weather stuff going on, and so my thoughts are with you all, and I hope that everything warms up. And for you people in Australia, may it not be too warm. Because there's also that. Because so may you get some cool air, and the people who have cold air, maybe they get a little bit of warm air, and it's gonna equal it all out. I know, it's seasons, they don't work that way. But may no one be too hot, may no one be too cold. have yourself a cup of tea either way. Tea fixes everything. So go out, get yourself a cup of tea, unless you hate tea, in which case get yourself a cup of water or a cup of coffee. Get whatever you enjoy to drink. Enjoy life. Thank you for coming and visiting with me. I very much appreciate and am happy that you are here. And until 2 weeks from now, which will be March, right? It's the 16th today. This will go up on the 17th. Yeah. Yeah, that'll be March. Whew, beginning of March. Okay. I don't know what time is anymore, so I don't... the days, they're exactly the same, and so I don't know what day it is. I don't know what month it is, and I am tired of that. Right. Blame it on the pandemic. There's a pandemic going on. Blame it on that. So, until March, March, why is it only, how is it already March? I will see you then, hopefully with a new start on my sock for my qualifying socks, maybe with more progress on stuff. I will see you then, and take care. Bye-bye.